Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Fantasy Football Scout YouTube channel. In this video, Eddie's going to reveal his Matchday 1 team. It's your team reveal, isn't it? It's your Matchday 1 team reveal. Ed, you did a lot of Euros fantasy content last year for us, but it's time now for you to do your Club World Cup time. You've obviously been doing the podcasts. How is your draft getting on currently? And then we'll actually get into your draft. Are you happy with decisions? Is there a few sort of tiptoeing? Is that the right way of saying it? Is there a few question marks, let's say? I'm sure there is. But yeah, how is it all getting on?
Yeah, look, hello everyone. Thank you for having me again. Yeah, look, I think it's very much a first draft at the moment. I'm still doing my research. It's quite a fun game. It's even more fun, I think, than the international tournaments. International tournaments, everyone's got to do quite a bit of research to kind of learn these players that they might not have kind of seen as regularly as others. Whereas the Club World Cup is that times two, right? As in, you've got teams like Seattle Sounders, Auckland FC, teams that, you know, I'm not going to lie and say I watch them every week. I don't at all. I don't think I've ever
You're
watched
saying you don't watch Auckland?
an Auckland FC game, who I've heard to on some other podcasts being referred to as basically the pub team of the tournament. So I'm expecting these fat, bald men to be turning out. But sorry to all our Auckland FC. I'm sure we've got a massive contingent of Auckland FC fans listening and watching. So apologies to them. But yeah, look, it's a first draft. We'll go through it. There's some positions that are just kind of have placeholder players at the moment that I know are going to change, but I'm still happy to take you through it and yeah, give you my thinking.
Yeah, so let's start into it then. Let's get it up. So let's start with your goalkeepers then, Ed. Who is your first goalkeeper?
Yeah, so I'm a big UCL fantasy player. Some people will know that, some people won't. But a keeper that has been so loyal to me in the past for points has been Jan Sommer. So I'm going to have the Inter Milan goalkeeper in between the sticks. Now, I'll caveat all of these decisions, right? I'll do caveat with there might have been news in the last few days that these players are injured or aren't in the squads, because I know squads are being announced or might be, you know, just not playing for some reason. That research for me is going to happen over the next couple of days, like the kind of check, the filter, like reading the team news and stuff. But at the moment, Jan Sommer, I'm going to go heavy on Inter Milan defense.
The big Jan. Although they have lost the manager, so does that give you a bit of a worry, or are you sort of thinking, well, the teams, like who they got in the first game? Let's have a look. Yeah, they've got Monterrey in the first game. CF Monterrey.
Yeah, so they've got Monterrey. Then they've got Urawa Red Diamonds, and then they've got River Plate. Like they could keep clean sheets against all three of them. Now they might not. You know, some decent teams there. River Plate, obviously a good team. Monterrey, well, I'm sure will be a stern test. Even Urawa Red Diamonds might be. I don't know, but they kept something like 6 out of 7 clean sheets at the start of this Champions League campaign. You know, so if they can keep clean sheets against the top European clubs, they can definitely do it against these guys. How much impact will, you know, the manager leaving and going to Is it Al Hilal he's gone to? Whoever it is.
Yeah, Al Hilal.
Pretty good wage packet, I think.
Yeah, no,
but yeah, I would have taken it, I think. But yeah, how much difference will that make? I don't know. I imagine they'll still play the same system, and I imagine it's the same players, right? And they're defensively pretty solid. So I was kind of like, who should I go for? Well, let's go for Sommer. I didn't really know who else to go for, so there we go.
Fair enough. Your second goalkeeper, is this going to be a 4 millioner that I'm going to have to find, or is this going to be someone that we sort of
Yeah, at the moment, because obviously in this game, because of the substitution system, like this Club World Cup fantasy, it's not like FPL where you can just have a 4 million and kind of forget about it because it doesn't make a difference anyway if the first one plays. This is a game where you can obviously rotate. So if your first keeper doesn't do well, you bring on your second keeper. So I've actually at the moment got Robert Sanchez from Chelsea.
Okay, so you've gone actually quite pricey, because this is the first draft I've seen with someone that's actually gone with sort of who actually quite expensive goalkeepers.
Well, just you know, I obviously saw you, Scott, earlier in the week, and we were with a bunch of people from Scout, and I was speaking to Tom, one of the guys who works at Scout, and he's a Chelsea fan, and he at the start of the night was like, "No, don't get Sanchez. Petrovic is going to play, or whoever it was." And then, like literally an hour later, it was confirmed. I think Petrovic has been sold or something, or he's not in the squad or something like that. I can't even remember.
Yeah, I think they are looking to sell him, but I don't think he's in the Club World Cup squad. I don't.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I think I had a couple of Guinnesses by then, so I can't quite remember what we were talking about. But so at the moment it's Sanchez. I might, when I start tweaking around with my squad and need to free up a little bit of money, I might go down to a playing keeper who's maybe 4.5 or something. I don't know who like the go-to cheap one is yet. Has there been an obvious go-to cheap one, Scott?
There's Armani of River Plate, who is 4 million. That seems to be quite a popular pick. So you might end up finding yourself on him later in the week.
Who does he play for?
River Plate.
Who does he play for? River Plate. Okay. All right. Oh, yeah. So maybe I'll end up on him. But at the moment, Sanchez, I mean, the bonus of Sanchez, go on the overview. He's less than 5% owned, right? And with this thing in mind of you get extra points if someone under 5% owned gets 4 points or more. you get I think it's a 2-point bonus or a 3-point bonus. I can't remember what it is,
bonus,
but
I believe,
2-point bonus. So it's quite a cool, like different, like it's just another reason to choose maybe someone who's not that well picked. In fact,
Yeah,
what
I think
percentage is
it's a really good
is Sommer?
feature. Let's have a look. He is he's 28%, so you're not going to be getting anywhere near that, unfortunately.
Exactly.
It will be a Sanchez only move that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so I think Sanchez is currently he's there, but that very likely to change, I think.
But let's move on to your first defender then.
First defender, I'm going to go for Bastoni at Inter Milan.
Bastoni.
And I'll just, in fact, I'm going to name my first two, Bastoni and Dumfries. So triple.
So
Inter.
You are really going big on the double Inter defense then. Triple Inter defense, I say. That is maybe controversial, but also quite ballsy. So well done.
Well, you know, I'm a ballsy guy. It very rarely works, but you know, look, Dumfries is so attacking. Dumfries is so attacking as well. Like he's in the same bracket as like an Hakimi, you know, in terms of attacking stats this year. Dumfries, yeah, that's reflected in his percentage, right? 39% owned. Go to Bastoni. Let's see what he is.
I reckon he's
yeah. So if I see an Inter defender who's actually less than 5, I'll probably go for them. Like if a Cherby's going to start, it'll probably be less than 5, I imagine. So maybe I'll swap to that to try and get this bonus. Because with Bastoni, although obviously he's got a couple of goals this season from headers and stuff, he's not really the goal scoring one. So really, you're looking at clean sheets.
Are you not interested with DiMarco in that sense?
Well, DiMarco was so poor at the end of the season. I mean, he came off at half time in the final. I think he was absolutely woeful. So and I think DiMarco's more money. I assume he is anyway.
Yeah.
So, but these all second level of questions, like the second level down from your first kind of like I've looked at the stats, I've done a few podcasts, I've made my team, and then the next level of like tweaking and finding out this stuff and like actually analyzing each pick. That's going to come over the next like couple of days because it obviously kicks off at 1 a.m. Sunday, isn't it? UK time. So for any UK, obviously some of you won't be from the UK, but UK time it's 1 a.m. in the morning. That first Inter Miami game. So yeah. So I'm pretty set on having triple Inter defense. I think that's exciting. I find that exciting, and Inter's 3 fixtures they could keep clean sheets in all of them.
They have got 3. Is your chip strategy? Have you looked at that at all yet, or are you sort of just building a draft first?
Yeah, no, kind of. So at the moment, I'm leaning towards something that I don't think many people are doing actually, but I'm going to go max captain for the game week 1. Now, the reason for this is, first of all, it just means you can set it and kind of forget it. You don't have to stress about like who's going to start and match day 1. It also gives you the ability to see who is going to be playing, etc., and getting rested and getting less minutes in match day 1 before then match day 2, knowing a little bit more. And then thirdly, I'm still not 100% sure how this captaincy works because there's 2 different trains of thought. The way it's been written in the rules, it's either that you can change your captain as many times as you want it within the match day between games and therefore just keep going like has been in previous FIFA like World Cup games. I think you could like change it every game and then just stop when you feel like you had enough points and then not risk it anymore. It's like stick or twist, right? Or you can have it once and then you can change it once in the match day to another one. Because the rules say something like you can set your captain and then you can change it and the words are once more. Now, people are saying, does that mean literally once more? Or is that like once again and then again and again and again?
Yeah,
and apparently there's in the past, it said once more and it's actually meant every single game. So, you know, FIFA have done really well with this app and the game's really slick. It's actually working for once for FIFA, which is great. But they're still really super unclear on that rule. So I think people will find out in match day 1 which way it is. But if I just set max captain, I can let them find out and then I'll just... You know, because you're going to want to use max captain at some point in the group stage.
I'm on max captain game week 1 as well, or match day 1 as well, mate. So you know, and then I'm probably 12 man in game week 2. Match day 2 is what I'm looking at. More. Anyway, let's move on to your third defender, and let's do all 3. Let's do third defender, fourth defender, and fifth defender.
Okay, so third defender at the moment, although this really is a placeholder, this probably will change. Is Colwill for Chelsea?
Okay.
Although again, Tom was like, well, I'm not sure whether he's going to kind of start. Then it's Jordi Alba.
Okay, Jordi Alba's an interesting one. We are definitely going to discuss that one.
Yeah, again, that's probably going to change, but there you go. He is, just so you can find him, 5.1 mil somewhere.
There he is.
And then Piquerez at 5.1 as well.
Piquerez, that's an interesting one because I've heard some good things about big boy Piquerez.
I think he will become. I mean, at the moment he's only 0.9% owned, which I don't understand because he plays for the team that's probably the favourite for the group, Palmeiras, and he takes set pieces and penalties, and he's a defender. So
And he's also, as you said, 0.9% owned.
I'd be still quite amazed if there's not this rush to get him before the deadline and he becomes over 5%. But at the moment, he's less than 1. So
you said something interesting there. You said that Palmeiras are favourites for this group, in your opinion. So does that mean, is that bookies odds or Ed's favourite?
I listen to The Rest is Football with Gary Lineker and Alan Shearer and Michael Richards, and they've got this expert, this woman on who's like a expert in world football. She's really good, actually, and they all basically predicted Palmeiras to finish top. Some of them predicted, most of them predicted Porto to finish second and Inter Miami third. But I don't know what the bookies odds are. But put it like this: Palmeiras are either favourites or second favourites for that group, and he takes. I mean, more importantly, he's a defender who takes set pieces and penalties.
Yeah, that is quite the perk. Perk.
It's quite the perk. If you can find them in the game, and you've got to fill the defense with some people. Like, it's not obvious who you go for. Like, that's why I've tripled up an Inter a bit. It's like a lot of people probably get Hakimi, but it's quite expensive. And
he's also got Atletico in the first game as well.
He's also got Atletico, yeah. So I'm just staying away from PSG for the first game. The one was like Alba, yeah. Go on.
I want you to talk about Jordi Alba a bit, because he's under 5% owned. Although you have said that Inter Miami are going to come third in this group, so if they do, is that something that you're worried about with Jordi Alba, or do you think at the price point he's still sort of worth it and he could get really decent attacking returns?
Well, he's on the edge for me because, first of all, Inter Miami are a bit past it now, aren't they? I mean, they haven't even been great in MLS.
Past the FC, mate. Messi.
Yeah, they are. They're like the Barcelona Masters team, like an old retired Barcelona team. But he could, he's come up with a few assists this season. I think he's obviously attacking. He's obviously good in that team, but he's old. He's probably a bit fat now. He's 5.1 million, and I wanted someone for the first game, and I don't have Messi.
Fair.
So at the moment, that's the only logic.
No Messi.
I know, a little spoiler. Yeah, I don't have Messi.
I think a lot of people have done that, to be honest. I don't think a lot are going with Messi.
Well, a lot of people will want him for the first game. So some people have said they'll get 12th man for the first game, so that you've got him, and then they don't have to worry about him for the other two fixtures. But
because he has got, his best fixture is obviously in that first game against Ali as well. So
yeah.
Anyway, let's move on to your midfield, Ben. Let's start with your first midfielder, because let's not do 3 at once again. That made it very, very difficult for me.
Well, let's go with Elise.
Oh, the shout of the bunch in midfield. He has got to be 100% owned by the end of the game. I mean, he won't be, obviously, but that 37.2% ownership. The fixture in that first game is against the worst team in the competition on paper, according to the bookies.
The pub team. The pub team.
Are you excited for Elise's 6 pointer in this game? No, I was going to say 6 goals, but I'll go with 6 pointer.
Yeah, no, look, I think triple Bayern. A lot of people are going to go triple Bayern, aren't they? Given they're playing that team. Understandably, at the moment, I've actually only got double Bayern, but that will probably change by the deadline. You've just got to. I mean, Elise's had a top season at Bayern Munich. He's involved in everything. They've won the league. We saw it in the Premier League with Palace. He's an absolute baller, and he's
also
taken
the top scoring player in
Bayern.
Bundesliga fantasy apparently this year as well.
There we go. So he's definitely one to consider. Either him or Musiala. Like, it's probably between those two, but I just edge towards Elise.
Fair enough. Second mid.
Franco Mastantuono.
And how much is he at?
4.3 million.
Oh, so a bit of a budget option then.
As you scroll and try and find him, the fact you don't know who he is probably suggests you don't play Football Manager. If anyone is watching who does play Football Manager,
I've seen that he's gone to Real Madrid, actually. So
he's gone to Real Madrid, yeah. Football Manager's having although it's having a nightmare in terms of releasing the new one, they've had to skip a year because they underestimated some dev work changing over to another game engine. They've actually absolutely nailed it on a lot of these players. Like the game that came out nearly 2 years ago now, like Desiree Doué becomes one of the best players in the world. Mastuano becomes one of the best players in the world. Valentino Carboni at Inter. All these top players that are being bought now were called by Football Manager. If you want to be ahead of the game, play Football Manager. Trust me. But anyway,
that's where the scouts should be on. Forget sending your scouts to games. Get them on Football Manager. That's where the gems are.
Well, professional clubs buy data off Football Manager. They sell it as a pack because Football Manager has scouts around the world. There you go. I don't work for Football Manager, by the way. Franco, I think that's true anyway. I've read that somewhere. Maybe it's like a rumor, but I think it's true. Franco Mastantuono, 4.3 million, 20% owned because he's just an absolute baller. Real Madrid just bought him for $45 million, but he's staying at River Plate for the Club World Cup. He, in fact, in terms of goals, I saw this the other day. What's he done this season? He has, Let's just get it up. I mean, he's had a top season in the league, 3 goals, 3 assists. He's got 2 goals in the cup. He's got another goal in the cup, another goal. So he's got like basically 6, 7 goals and 3 assists in not many games, like less than 20. And he's only 17. But he's like their golden boy. So he takes free kicks. He scored a really good free kick recently. Yeah. And a 4 point, I mean, the key is he's 4.3 million, right?
Yeah,
so
it's a bit of a
free up budget. It's a good place.
And the fixtures, the first 2 fixtures for replay against UR Red Diamonds and CF Montreal, whatever they're called, them 2 fixtures, they look really, really strong. Obviously, the Inter one in the final one was a bit difficult, but the first 2 especially, you could definitely play them in both.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So yeah, just a budget midfielder.
Next midfielder then.
Let's go Emma Ashwar, 4.7 million.
Are you really going with budget midfielders then?
Yeah, why not?
Talk me about this midfielder that you've just pronounced that I can't say.
So this fella is 32% owned, so you really should have heard of him. He plays for Al Ahly FC. He's a midfielder, but a very attacking one. In the league this year for them, he's got 9 goals, 4 assists in 16 games. He's got 5 goals and 2 assists in like their version of the Champions League in 11 games. He's got 4 goals and 3 assists in like he's basically scored like I think maybe nearly 20 goals this season.
For them, doesn't score.
Yeah, well, pretty much. They're obviously playing Inter Miami. I think Inter Miami will win that first game. But if they're going to score, right, this guy's probably going to be involved. Again, he's only 4.7 million. So, fantastic option there. I mean, it's shown in the fact he's 32% owned, right? People who are playing this around the world.
We're going to see that with the. I do think a lot of people who are playing the fantasy sort of World Cup as such, Club World Cup fantasy as such, are going to be sort of more hardcore fantasy players as such. So I do think the hidden gems won't be as hidden in this game naturally. I think that's the way it will probably play out.
But yeah, at the moment he's in at 4.7 million. It's hard not to have him in my opinion. He's their talisman. If they're going to do anything, he's going to be involved.
So let's go with your 4th midfielder then.
Rodrigo Mora, 4.2 million.
4.2. You really are. You've got, and we already know your strikers. Let's be honest.
Rodrigo Mora again is another player who becomes amazing in Football Manager. So again, if you want to be ahead of the game, he's up. He's blue. Up one more. No, down. As in he's there.
He is.
So
screen's really laggy when I'm picking the players. I don't really know why, but that's why.
He is 8.8% owned, and he this season 10 goals, 4 assists in 23 games in the league. And that's in the Portuguese league, so it's not a bad league. Really good. It's going to start unless they rotate or something.
Young wonder kid.
And
there's also another one. There's Francesco Mora as well, a defender who's really sort of, I think he's 4.1 million, has a really good season, sort of plays left wing back as well. But you prefer Mora? I'm
picking the same players that I pick when I start a new Football Manager game and buy them when they're like 14 years old or something. So it's great fun.
So and your final mid then, this has got to be a premium asset here, surely, Ed.
This is Georgian de Arrascaeta, 6.2 million.
6.2 million. I currently have him in my team. I think he will be a massively high-owned player. He's got he's got 13 goal contributions, I believe, in the first 9 games. It's not to ruin his stance there, but
once again, he is a player who becomes amazing Football Manager. So I do. Is
this the Football Manager? What is your team name on club?
My team is Football Manager FC, or it should
that
be.
Is what it should be anyway. You've missed the trick there.
Yeah.
So you really target this first game then?
I think Flamengo are like second favourites for this group behind Chelsea. I think they've got a really good first fixture. I think this guy is involved in everything. He seems to be their main guy. He's got 9 goals in 9 games in Serie A this season, 4 assists. He's got that's pretty much it. So he's only played 9 games, but 9 goals in 9 games, not bad. But yeah, so look, I think by the way, Serie A being that's like the whatever Brazilian Serie A.
Brazilian first division.
So yeah, look, really happy with him. He's obviously not that much money, 6.2 million. So yeah.
So, and then moving on to your front line now here we come with the big boys, surely.
Yeah, so look, I'll just say it all. Well, Kane, right? Let's go with Kane first, of course. Harold, Sir Harold. He is going to be captain. Well, he's not because I'm going to have a master captain, or whatever it's called, max captain. Look, he's playing a pub team. He scores against the best teams in the world, and he still scores against the worst teams in the world. I could see him scoring maybe 10, 11 goals in his first game. So
it's an interesting prediction. Although to be
Yeah.
fair, I mean, there's stranger things that have happened, but that would be.
But this is why I'm going Max captain for the first game, because you've got Messi. Obviously, could just go full on Messi, like Club World Cup. Let's just turn it on. You've got Kane playing this fixture against a pub team. You've got Mbappe who's playing Al Hilal. You've got Haaland who's playing Waka Waka something. Like Max captain in this match day for me is just, yeah, good.
Yeah, fair. And their group, especially these sort of first two games, look really strong. I think Boca will be quite challenging, actually. But obviously, Auckland are going to be. You would expect it to be. Going to have a little prediction for that game. What would you go? What scoreline are you actually going for? Give us a number.
It'll probably be a massive disappointment. Auckland will sit in, and it'll be like 1-0 to Bayern Munich, who they'll score in the 88th minute or something. Finally, it'll be something like that.
So
because the worry is yeah, but the worry is. Yeah, but this is why I don't want to just use a captain and Captain Harry Kane, because it just is never as good as you think. So then I've got options with Max captain. It will like just choose the best. But the worry is that Bayern will turn up. They'll play at 50%, thinking they're just going to absolutely walk over them, and it's not as easy as they think. But we'll see.
Fair enough. Second forward.
I'll go with Kylian Mbappe.
See, Mbappe, that's an interesting one, because obviously it isn't. I think he's got 48 goal contributions, something ridiculous. But every draft I've done so far on this, nobody's had him. Now, you're the first man, Ed. Can you explain why?
Probably because I haven't spent all my budget in midfield.
Yeah, that's probably exactly
so
right,
I can afford him. Yeah, that's probably it. I just don't know who to go for in midfield. Like, if there was a really compelling option, Cole Palmer hasn't been that amazing towards the end of the season in terms of goal contributions. Like, who are other players going for? Bellingham?
I've seen some Dembélés.
Yeah, but their first games against Atletico Madrid, and Dembele, I suppose, is interesting because he's a midfielder in this game, whereas he should be a forward, really. Let's be honest. So that is interesting, but their first games against Atletico Madrid, I can always bring him in the second game. Like, I could just, so yeah, he's just not my team.
Fair enough. And your final forward will be
Erling Haaland.
That attack is quite daunting, actually. I think the word is daunting.
Yeah, but I mean, usually I would be the person who didn't go for like the obvious casual, like, oh, Kane, Haaland, and Mbappe, because there are really good options. Like, I think, Pavlidis at Benfica is a really good option. I think.
How about Samu at Porto? Have you looked at him?
No, I haven't looked at him, but I'm sure he's a good option. Like, there is good options that are cheap, that are further down, but these three, it's just their fixtures. You can't turn up the opportunity to get Kane against Auckland FC or Haaland against Wydad FC. That sounds like a Wi-Fi provider. Or like frigging who's the other one? Al Hilal. Mbappe playing Al Hilal.
I do think Al Hilal might come second in this group, though. That's a bit of a wild prediction for you.
Well, no, it's not too wild, but I mean, it's Al. They're just not. I mean, against Real Madrid, the best team, one of the best teams in Europe over the last 10 years, the best team in Europe. Like, come on, Kylian Mbappe, one of the best players in the world. He's just going to absolutely destroy them, surely. But again, it's never as simple as that.
Can I ask you a final thing before we wrap this up, Ed? Are you slightly worried about player rotation in terms of teams will not play their strongest team? For example, Kane won't start against Auckland.
Yes, but we can't worry about that because it's after the deadline, so I'm forgetting it and playing my max captain so that I'm not going to make a mistake with that. And then match day 2, we'll have a much better idea. That's why I'm doing it.
So Ed's tip, if anyone's asking, is to bury hand in the soil. Head in the soil. Hand in the soil? Head in the soil. Head in the sand.
Head in the sand, you idiot. If you're going to make a point about me, at least get it right. At least get it right.
Well.
I'm burying my hands in the soil, everyone. I'm burying my hands in the soil. That's a new phrase we've coined today, burying hands in the soil. But look, I think it's not burying head in the sand. It's literally just giving yourself all the information before having to make these decisions. Like, for people who are going to choose a captain, absolutely fine, and you may do way better than me, but you are taking a risk, because how do we know, that they're not going to, Mbappe is not going to get benched? How do we know Haaland's not? Now, I don't think they will be, by the way. My prediction is these clubs are going to take this seriously because of the prize pool that's on offer. We've already seen that Real Madrid have paid 10 million euros just to get Trent for it. I mean, that suggests they're taking it pretty seriously. Bellingham has had his surgery delayed on his shoulder to play this. Like, these big clubs are taking it seriously. So they're not going to get there and just rest everyone. They're just not going to do that. So, yeah. So this is my team currently. The players I think that will probably change by the time the deadline comes is my second keeper, Sanchez. Colwill, because I just need to do a bit more reading on him. Alba might change. Other than that, I think it would stay the same because other than that, I'm pretty happy. The only thing I could do is drop one of the premium strikers for a more budget striker, or not budget, but just not 11 million. Even if it was to a 9 million or whatever, you're saving 2 million there, and maybe I could up. Yeah, Garassi was in my thoughts. He did really well for me in UCL Fantasy this season. And then I could maybe upgrade one of the midfielders. But I like all my midfielders, so they're my football manager guys.
I do like this draft. This has got to be one of my favorite drafts I've done. It's not as good as mine, of course, but of course, that'd be ridiculous. No. And now you've got 0.1 million left, so you haven't got much left, to be fair.
No, but if I drop Sanchez to like a 4 million, that would give me 1.3. If I dropped Colwill to maybe a cheap 4.5 or something, that would give me another mil. So I could kind of save 2 million somewhere and then upgrade one of the midfielders if I want to. But
that's the only thing, is that if you want to get to Dembele in match day 2, then that's going to be tricky in terms of you're probably going to have to. You might be better starting with a more expensive mid and then obviously swapping them through.
True, although I could go from Elise to Dembele, couldn't I?
You probably want Elise for the second game though, against Boca.
Yeah, Boca are quite good though. I think Boca will be decent. They're not like they're not a pub team, are they? So yeah, that's my.
But thanks everyone for listening, and thanks Ed for joining us and revealing his match day 1 team, I guess. But yeah, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one. Bye for now, everybody. Bye for now.